And throughout the winter, our business was slow. And it got to the point where I was worried about if we were going to survive through the next few months. So I say to Mandeep, who is the CPA in our office, I say, I don't know what's going on, Mandeep. Like, this is really bad. And she says to me, I have a guy. He goes and he comes to your house and he basically blesses your house and takes all the spirits away. And he goes, he came to our house and we're having some issues. I'll bring him here. He's about $250, $300 for the blessing. I said, well, whatever it is, bring this guy in because we need something. So the guy comes in and he looks around the office. And at that time, we didn't have this side of the office. We only had where you came in on the other side. He was actually, that was our main entrance. We had a small office. And my office was where me and Deep's office was. It's on that side. And I was sitting in the office in that office, and Mandeep was sitting where my office is now. So he walks around and he says, "You can't sit there." And I say, "What?" He goes, "You're the boss." He says, "You can't sit in that office." He goes, "Because that office doesn't have a sight line to the door." So he literally spent, I'm not kidding you, 5 minutes in here. He told us what to do, things to do, put this there, put pictures here, pictures of horses, etc. And for me to move. And he leaves. And I'm like, well, that was the worst $250 I spent. So I'm sitting in my office and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so a week goes by. I'm like, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I sit in that same office where I was. And still things were like quiet and not good. And it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I literally just picked up my whole stuff on my desk and just moved it over to the new office where I'm sitting right now. I put everything down and I sat in that office. And I'm not kidding you, it sounds weird, but from that day on, our business started picking up one little bit at a time, at a time, at a time. So, this one? Yeah. You want me to move back or move closer to? Closer? Okay. So, sure enough, all of a sudden now our business is starting to pick up. And I'm like, what the hell? And I was like, is this really like, is it just happenstance that it happened? Or is it really he gave us all of these things? So I don't know exactly what it was, but it did turn around the business and we started actually growing from that point forward. So when we added this new space, so you'll see that the carpet is new on one side to the other. We added this area and I had him come back in. So he came back in for a second time. And there's a lot of hidden things that you guys don't see that are in this office that he told us to do. You'll see little Buddhas around. You'll see elephants with actually the elephants in different areas. Above in the ceiling, there's little Buddhas above us that are sitting where we're sitting right now. And
above the ceiling.
and in the ceilings, right? And because the where you're sitting, if you are the owner, you want to be blessed above. So we put actually there's stuff in this corner right here that you don't see. So all throughout this office right now, there are little things that are actually in this office, and I tell you, whether you believe it or not, to me, it has blessed the office and brought so much more. And our business has grown dramatically. Like, I mean, it's to the point where, again, I have elephants and giraffes on my arm. And
Wow.
these are all symbols of good, positive wealth and health and wellness. And that's, I believe in, like, my phoenix is on my left side, my elephants and my lion are on my right. And there's reasons why I have these tattoos. They mean more than just a simple, hey, let me put something on my body. Right?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's the story. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad I noticed the horse.
Yeah. That I mean, like I said, you guys don't see it, but there are things in this, like in the ceilings right now, or the horses, or that represent, and all those things mean something,
One,
right?
two. 1, 2. Hello and welcome to Phoenix Management, where we piece together all your business needs by providing you with top quality accounting, finance, and consulting services. We are located at 1450 Mayorside Drive, Unit 306 in Mississauga, Ontario. You can book a meeting by either visiting our website at phoenixmanagementgroup.com or give us a call at 905-696-6964. I'm sitting with the owner and managing director who started his business over 10 years ago, LaMar Van Dusen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Tyson. It is an honor to be here with you. Obviously, you being my son, and this is a very impressive setup. And I've been wanting to do this for a long time. So thank you, and thanks to the man behind the scenes that's helping. So thanks to everybody, and again, I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. So let's just get started with the beginning here. You grew up in a small town called Chatham.
Yes.
Which is located 3 hours away.
Yeah.
From Toronto.
Yeah.
How did you get involved in coming into the big city, and what sparked that idea? A lot of business owners that live in Toronto are actually not from here, which is a crazy thing that you learn in Toronto. Is that you see a lot of immigrants and people. You're not an immigrant, but at the same time, you are from a small town where the aspirations probably are not as big.
Mm-hmm.
How did you grow that big aspirations to come here and be an entrepreneur, especially? Is something obviously another challenge to overcome, but being an outside entrepreneur is something that's even bigger challenge to come, So how did you do that? What's that? Speak on that transition.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think I've always been an entrepreneur, even at a young age. I started off even at the age of 10 or 11 being a Dickie D seller of ice cream. I don't know if you know what Dickie D is. No. Being in a small town, they give you, at a young age of 11, what they do is they give you an actual bike that's on a cooler. It's a freezer on wheels, and they make you go out there and sell ice cream. So you drive around on your bike all day, and you literally ring this bell, and you sell ice cream. And so my buddy, his name is Gary, and we were the first to go out there, and we were pretty good at it. So we would just drive around, sell ice cream all day. And the way that it worked was it worked on commission. So you didn't get paid an hourly rate. You got paid based on how you sold. So I learned at an early age how to sell. And I was on telemarketing for Big Brothers when I was like 12 or 13. So I've always had that sales sort of mentality of going out there and selling something. And when I was young, I always said, not that there's anything wrong with being in a small town, but for me personally, I knew that I wanted to get out of the small town. Obviously, your grandfather, my dad, Garth, he worked at a factory. Loved the man to death. He was like a 6 a.m. till like 5 o'clock every day. Always worked hard. He was an amazing man. Yeah. But I saw that, and I saw that he wasn't really appreciated. And so for me, having a bit of education, going to school, at least getting a diploma or a degree was important to me. So I wasn't the best student, but I figured out how to get by and pass. And then I had an opportunity to come to Toronto when I graduated. I started off in a company that told you in advance that you basically had 3 months to sell so much or you were going to get fired. They told you that at the start. I always tell that story because I came to Toronto literally with nothing. I came to Toronto with an SUV. And this company was called LaMar. And what they did is you had to be to work at 7 o'clock every day. You had to wear a suit and tie. You couldn't have any facial hair, nothing. At 7 to 7:30, you had a chance to chat, get ready for the day. At 7:30, every day there would be a sales meeting. At 8 o'clock, you had to be on the phones. And by 9 o'clock, you had to be out of the office. And you could not come back in the office until 4 o'clock. So imagine a kid from Chatham didn't know anything about the GTA. Back then, there was no cell phones. You didn't have any of this.
And what year is this?
Oh, that's a great question. It was I was 25, so 22 years ago, 26.
Wow.
That's actually, and it's kind of, and we're getting off in the little tangents, but that's when you were actually, your mom was pregnant. It was crazy times. And the long story short is I had to figure it out early how to survive in this big city. And you literally had to go door to door, knocking on doors, trying to sell photocopiers for to $10,000. Now you can buy a photocopier for like $300. So I learned at an early age how to survive in the city, and I was number 2 in all of Canada. From there, I went up in the management. I was the youngest manager for Lanier at the age of 27. I was making well over 6 figures at the age of 27. So I figured it out. And then I went to a company that was small, and I was a manager of like 10 people. And at some point in time, I knew that I wanted to be on my own. I knew I could do it just as well as anybody else. I saw these guys that were doing very well for themselves, and basically were the owners of this company. And through trials and tribulations, I got to this point where I wanted to be my own boss. And I had this vision of helping people. And how I started in this business was I just started doing business plans. And I would help with basically doing the business plans, getting them business loans. And then from there, I was working full time and doing this basically part time. And that's how I started this company.
Yeah. So speak on this company in Phoenix Management, and your vision. What does Phoenix Management mean to you?
Yeah.
Why is it called Phoenix? Get into that, as well as again, you talked about how you did it part time, but what is your true passion about this company? You founded it as accounting and financing services as well as consulting, right?
Yeah.
So why is that your passion? Obviously you're my father, so I see you wake up every day very passionate and you're eager to get on the telephone with these people. You love helping these people out.
Yeah.
What about this, which like you talk about, is very boring to other people, but this is something that you really adore? What about it makes you so ambitious about it? And what made you start it and call it Phoenix Management as well, to add in there?
Yeah. So to start off with, the reason why I call it Phoenix Management, and as I said earlier, is like, I it's in my core of who I am. And I think as individuals or humans or whatever we are, as we go through life, we go through these events that change us. And you can from that event crash and burn, or you can evolve to be a stronger, bigger, better person. And I've went through multiple challenges in my life, but I've always managed to come out of it bigger, better, stronger. And I believe that is that, like, there's a thing as from the ashes, the phoenix will rise. And essentially what that means is as you go through these events, you shed and you shed the old person and you become the stronger individual, the stronger person. And I believe that we all go through these things in life. And when we do, the opportunity to get over that hurdle is what makes you a stronger, more empowered individual. And so that's what Phoenix means to me. And obviously the management is just managing and helping other people. And that's what I love to do. I really love to help business owners. I've had enough experience that I've seen businesses fail, succeed. I've had my own businesses that have failed miserably. I've lost lots of money. But on the other side of that, I've had businesses that have been wildly successful. And from that, I take all my experience and I like to share that and give that knowledge to people. And that's how Phoenix Management was born. I started off, as I said, writing a business plan for people. And I would see what that would do, and they would get a loan, and that would change their lives. And then all my business came from referrals. I helped you out. You told your friend, and I've built my business on results. And the early experiences that I had at these companies like Lanier showed me that it's all about results. I'm a result-driven person. I want to see results, and I want to see results for other people, and that's what drives me every day.
So speaking on that, like you said, there's certain stuff that people are missing. So there's certain stuff that people are missing. What are those 2 or 3 issues that you see in a business that usually are missing something quite essential to their business? A few mistakes, whether they make in their business plan, accounting, or financing way. What are some mistakes that you commonly notice that you always help with, or that you gain your expertise in?
I think it's the idea that you have to have a plan, right? Like not every person that starts a business is a business person, if that makes sense, right? Like a chef thinks, I'm a chef, so I can open up a restaurant.
They care more about the craft than
Yeah.
about the numbers on the paper.
and the paper. And I always tell people, like, if you are starting a business, then why would you not want to write that down? Understand, crystallize your ideas and put it in a plan. And the plan to me, and I always reference this to me, I say, the plan is like the Bible or the Quran. It always changes, but the emphasis of what it is always the same, right? The basis of what it is always the same. So when you put together a business plan, it's not exactly what it's going to turn out to be, but at least you've crystallized it and put it on paper, and then you have an idea to follow. And then you can say, oh,
you know what to expect in a sense.
Yeah.
You're on the right track or not.
Yeah, you have something to measure against. And if you don't, it's as if like you had Google Maps. If you didn't have Google Maps and you just drove around, where would you be driving? Endlessly. You need to have a good plan as to where you're going, and that really helps people. So I would say one is having a good business plan, and that's where we help and we uncover sort of what the challenges are. And then two is just educating people, is saying, okay, have you thought about this? Here are some of the pitfalls. And it's just from my own experiences that I can share with them on some of the things that they might want to do or might not want to do in order to protect themselves. All right. And so that's, I think, what I add as far as value and what we can bring to the table.
Well, yeah, being your son is probably something that I inherited as well, that thought process of planning. That's something I dedicate my whole time to now, is just inserting a plan to follow, because it's important, like you just said, to have a plan to follow, know what to expect, whether it be fails or winning wise. It's important to see your trajectory and to break it down into steps.
Yeah.
So it's easier to conquer step 1, 2, 3 rather than to go to point A to point B.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I communicate to a lot of people today, and especially people I work with. That's good. But what would you tell somebody who just started or a young business to prepare for when launching their business on your side of the spectrum? Because I think, like you said, I think what you said before is a lot of businesses like us don't think about that. Young businesses are more thinking about probably the product, just getting that together, but they don't think about all the back end stuff that's supposed to happen in order to get everything straight, and that usually have accompanied a lot of falls. To because of that. Yeah. And what would young businesses and really early businesses who just started, what do you think they need to prepare for, or go out and to reach a professional like you in Phoenix Management to kind of prepare for?
So I would say the first thing that you have to be willing to do is work your butt off. Give it 100, not 100%. You have to give it 180%. You know, when I started this business, I had a routine. I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I would go until 12 o'clock at night. As I said, I was working full time, and then I was moonlighting from like 5. So I would go from getting up, going to the office, working a job, and then from there, I would go and see clients, get home at 11 o'clock. Then I would do more research, stay up till 12 o'clock at 1 o'clock, and then I would do it all over again. And I did that for about a year and a half straight, because I was such on a mission that I was not going to fail. And what I would tell every business owner is that you have to be willing to give 180%. Get a routine going. If you think about, like, the thing about an entrepreneur is you have your own leisure of time. And so you think you have a lot of time. But what I would tell you is that
time management is important.
Time management is important, but outworking everybody else is just as important. My secret to success is that I just try to outwork people. I really believe that. Like, at night, I still do it right now. I'll do as much research. Like, I could talk about so many these programs that the government is giving. People are like, well, how do you know this stuff? I just sit on the computer and I just read, and I know it inside and out, so that I want to be as knowledgeable as I can to help people. And so that routine that you have as a business owner should be regimented. You should be like setting the clock and treat it like you had to go to work and that you've got a job. You know, I get off on this little sidetrack. Me and a buddy of mine, we used to call it burning gas. And we didn't have clients, but we would just literally drive around and we would go see as many people as we can, telling our story, and we'd hopefully get an opportunity. And I think young entrepreneurs need to know that it's not like what you see on TikTok or all this other nonsense where automatically you're making millions. It's a grind.
Yeah.
It's a hustle. And you got to grind and you got to hustle, and surely and slowly you'll get lucky and it'll turn into an opportunity and you build that momentum. But it's pushing that rock and pushing it as hard as you can until the momentum is in your favor. So that's what I would tell people.
One of the things I'd also like to point out too is something that I find important is a strong team. I noticed with you, obviously noticing your business and coming to the office, you have a strong team with you and you have a good relationship with the workers you have. Talk to the importance of having a strong team as a business, whether it be, having a business on your own can be very overwhelming sometimes. But like Mandeep, who's just with you shortly and speaking on that. Talk about first of all, your workers. You can highlight them and what they have done for you and how they've worked for you. But talk about the strong team and how is that important to a successful business?
It is vital. I tell the story of Mandeep to everybody all the time. I hired Mandeep as a CPA for our company when we had no accounting clients. We had zero bookkeeping and accounting clients. But I knew that was the best thing for our business. And so I said, okay, instead of me working with outside accountants, I need to hire an accountant. So I meet with her and I say, listen, I don't have any accounting clients, but I need an accountant. She's like, well, I need about $60,000 a year. I said, well, I probably had about $600 in my bank account. Okay, no problem, right? We'll make it work. And it all worked out. And she's now been with me almost 10 years, 8.5 years. And she is vital to this company. She is the backbone of building an important company, and you can't do it on your own. You need people that are willing to sacrifice like you are. And, I always say that she has sacrificed just as much as I have, but she has been the backbone. And as we grew this team, we wanted people that had that same sort of mindset. And we've had people that have come, that have failed. We had people that would show up, like they started the job at 9:00 and they'd be here at like 9:15, 9:30. And I'd be like, well, you've got to go. All right. So we've had a lot of failures as much as we've had successes. And now we're at the point where we're getting to that next level. It's a lot of same thing. It's like you trial and error. Hopefully, as you start to hone in who's going to give you the best results, you keep those people and you retain them and you give them as much as you can because you want them to get to their dreams. And that's what I want to do is I want to help Mandeep and everybody in my office get to their dreams. And that's how I try to retain people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So now moving forward with the current times we're in, this is about like a year and a half into COVID.
Yeah.
How has the transition been for your business, but also for other business? Have you noticed what has the issues changed from regular issues till now? Obviously your business is the same, but what has been the change in people coming towards you, in approach wise, whether it be for reason, and how is the change? And has it increased? Has it decreased? How's business been since COVID?
Yeah.
And speak on that, just the whole COVID situation, whether you're running businesses and you're obviously speaking with a lot of businesses. What have they been telling you? How difficult it has been? Some businesses we've spoken about are just trying to survive until the next couple months and pushing months. But speak on that, on how businesses are really struggling right now, or some are even striving. Just speak on, again, the business owners you've been speaking with.
Yeah, for our business, because we do accounting, it's been a pivotal part for a lot of business owners. And so, knock on wood, we've been doing well under these circumstances. And it's fortunate that we have, because we're in the position of helping people. And that's why I say, like, when you're in the position of helping people and having knowledge to be able to do that, then you're in a good position, whether it's good times or bad. But during these unprecedented times with COVID, we've seen our business grow and actually to the point where we're hiring and adding on people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because we've been able to give them knowledge and information about all the government programs that are happening out there, finding out financing in ways that maybe not the traditional ways, and just being resourceful for them so that they have somebody to go to. Because a lot of business owners, as you said, are not having a really good time right now and are either in the pains of barely hanging on or just saying, I give up and just closing the doors.
Mm-hmm.
And, that sense of failure for a lot of people is very difficult. You think about how much money and how much time you've put into a business and to see it go down, not something that were able to control of your own making. It was because of something that you couldn't control.
Out of left field.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, we want to be a resource for them and we want to try to help them as much as we can. So we've been working with different channels to get financing, working with the government programs to help them, whether it be a grant or a loan or a subsidy, something that can get them to the next side. And, I think I talked about this earlier is that, right now people are in the middle of the water, the river, and they're swimming for their life. And we're just trying to give them a lifeline so that they can make it to the other side. And really, I hope that a lot of businesses do. I know some of the businesses won't make it, but if we can be a small part of getting them to that next side, then it's everything that I dreamed about for this business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So speak on that. What are the things that you're doing? So you said, but what are the special advantages that you have in order to get these businesses to the next side? What's the advantage of going with Phoenix Management in order to get your business to strive to the next side? What are the capabilities that you add to an organization to bring them over to the next side?
Yeah. So one is we understand all of the programs. So whether it's the wage subsidy, the rent subsidy, the grant programs, any government, whether it be federal or provincial or a local program that's out there, we're going to try and make sure that they get as much money as they can. Secondly, is making sure that if we can get them financing through like the banks or a B lender or a C channel, just so that they can have enough cash flow to survive, that's important. On the accounting side and the bookkeeping side, now is critical because you need to make sure that your taxes are in order, make sure that your information is correct because we're into March and T4 time was just done. So making sure that you've got your submissions in on time, making sure that your information is accurate. We're getting to the point where this new program, the SIBA program, is out. It's coming to an end on March 31st. So we're making sure that whoever qualifies, we're getting the people into that program. So really, it's us being knowledgeable on all the different programs and helping people to ensure that they qualify and get the funds that they need to survive till this pandemic goes away.
Okay. And how do people, in order to get this information and stuff like that and get help from you, how would they reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's through our website. Our office is open from 9:30 to 5:30 every day. A lot of people have access to my personal cell phone or to Mandeep's. And that's the other thing that I always try to do is obviously we're a business, but I tell people you can call me. I get calls 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night sometimes because people need an answer. And so my phone has always been accessible because if I can give them an answer so that they can sleep, that's what I want to do. So any way that they can get in touch with myself or anybody in my team, we're more than happy to give them the answers that they need.
Okay, so speak on Phoenix Management's goal moving forward, and what's your plan moving forward with Phoenix Management?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I have big plans for this company. When we got going on the accounting and bookkeeping side, the idea that I had was we were going to offer a flat rate service for bookkeeping because bookkeeping, I don't know if you know, it's normally on an hourly rate. And so if you say, I need some bookkeeping services, they would say sometimes it'd be $400, sometimes it'd be $1,000. But I wanted to take that away from the business owner and say, you pay X amount of dollars, that's it. So they knew they could budget on an amount and knew that that's all they were going to spend. And that was really for me, a bit of a game changer because it was the first time that somebody was doing it in the GTA. And it's taken a while to get to where we are today, but I see that something that you can roll out across Canada. First, I'd like to be in Ontario. And what we're doing now is we're moving into technology. So we're doing like video calls. All the desk will have like a video set up so that you can now speak to a bookkeeper and see them and go through your books with them. And with digital technology now, QuickBooks Cloud, it's so much more intuitive. And our goal is so that if you're a business owner, every month, I tell this to business owners, you want to know where you're at every month, right? Did you make a profit? What are your expenses? How much money did you make? And then what you can do is then you can make an adjustment on the fly. And the challenge that I've seen with a lot of business owners is they wait to the end of the year to figure out what their situation was. Did I make money? Did I lose money? A lot of business owners don't have a clue. They have no clue. And I tell them, like, every month you should be looking at your numbers: profit, loss, balance sheet. Those things are critical. And what we're trying to do is try to give them information every month that's accurate so that they can be informed. And if we can do that using technology, we're incorporating things like Receipt Bank. Receipt Bank is something that ties into QuickBooks. So what you can do is you get a receipt, instead of basically, holding on to the receipt, you could just take a picture of it and it actually goes right into your QuickBooks. And that receipt is just as good as the receipt in your hand, and CRA recognizes that receipt. So you don't need a box of receipts and giving it to, your accountant or your bookkeeper anymore. You can do one day, take all the pictures, scan them in, and automatically goes in, and then we reconcile. So my goal is to be advanced, be ahead of the game, and try to make this process as seamless as possible, but as accurate as possible. Because if I can help you be in tuned and informed, then you can make better business decisions. And now you can be a better business owner, right? And that's my goal for the company. Yeah, if you looked out there, I've got a whole whack of books that I've read that are sort of business oriented. No, the one by Damon Johns is a really good one, just because of sort of my background and his background were the same. I think you read books that will help you understand business a little bit better, and there's a few out there that are good. The Wealthy Barber is just good for financing and understanding how that works. The other thing too is I tell a lot of young entrepreneurs, understand credit, right? As a business owner, especially in Canada, you have to understand your personal credit and your business credit, right? So quickly before we end this, there's 3 things if you're going to start a business. If you have a terrible credit score, your life is going to be terrible for business. Understanding the fundamentals of how credit works, every business owner should understand that. So really simple is when your time is due that you have to pay the bill, you should never be above 30% of the total amount that you're allowable on the actual credit card or credit line of credit. You need 2 or 3 credit facilities to get going. So you should have 1 or 2 credit cards and 1 line of credit. Secondly is when you get to the point, you should own an asset. In Canada, especially in Canada, having an asset is the most important part. So I'm not telling everybody, go buy a home right away, but sacrifice. If you're a young person, put money away. Don't go buy a pair of shoes. Don't go buy a car. Don't do any of that stuff. It's 5%. So you need 5% down in order to buy a house in Canada. But that 5% on a $400,000 house in the next 10 years is going to change your life, because now you have what is called net worth. Do you guys know what net worth is? What is net worth?
It's what your value is. So if someone were to seize an asset of yours, like basically it's not liquid money that you can spend, but it's ultimately an asset of what adds to your worth essentially as a business. So say for example, you need to if you owe money to somewhere, they can seize the house, whether it be an asset or.
You're on the right track, but net worth is really simple. Right? It's assets minus liabilities. Okay. So what is an asset? All right. An asset is a house, it's investments, it's a car, it's things that you own that you actually have value in that asset. So if you own a car today and it's worth $10,000 and you own a home today that's worth $400,000, but on that home you have a mortgage of $300,000. What is your net worth? Your net worth is the 400 minus the 3, so you're at 100, plus the car, which is 10. So your net worth is 110,000. But if you have all these liabilities like credit cards and lines of credit and student loans and all this, you got to minus all of that. So if you don't have a good net worth, the banks don't see you as a deemable person to lend money to. So if you guys are all starting off as young entrepreneurs, the best thing you can do is save every penny that you have and put it away so that you can buy an asset, because that value is going to go so much further down the road. And a lot of people just don't do that. And I see that as the biggest problem for young entrepreneurs. So it's educating yourself on what credit is all about and making sure that at a young age, you guys invest and start investing in assets. And keep your liabilities low.
Okay, well, thank you very much, LaMar, for speaking with us today. Thank you for tuning in to Phoenix Management, where we piece together all your business needs. Don't feel afraid to like, comment, subscribe, or share. You can follow us on our handles at Phoenix Management on all platforms, or visit our website at phoenixmanagementgroup.com, or call 905-696-6964 for more information.